All right, much better. My settings were all jacked up from in that last stream. I don't know what was going on, but I could just tell from the beginning the stream was all about to be jacked up, and I did not feel like try to fix that the whole time we was live. So I figured let me just go ahead and fix it at the start. But what's good with y'all? Let me get this new link out to uh let me get this new link out real quick, real quick, real quick. Hit the Discord because I had to leave. Um, boom, paste, everyone, stream link. Do stream link, send down. I'm dead. Now that be streaming Drake out. What's good, Guru? What's good, Neptune? How y'all doing? Yeah, we had to I had to switch stream links because it was all jacked up. It wasn't working right. But now we're back. We're gonna get this set up. I'm actually here when this stream starts. That's what's up, Guru. Appreciate you. Mega VR, what's good with you, my guy? How you been? How y'all doing? I feel like when's the last time we went live? Was that before All Star? So we haven't really spoken since All Star break, since All Star game. Hopefully y'all enjoyed All Star break. I mean, it was smooth. We talked about it briefly, I want to say. Did we talk about All Star on stream? When did we stream last? I always forget. I don't think we spoke about All Star. I made some TikToks about All Star, but I don't think we like officially in depth really talked about All Star break. Last time we was live, yeah, it was trade deadline. It was that Thursday before trade deadline. But we got a lot that we want to talk about today. We do have a tier list. We're going to talk about all the different just news that's been going on in the NBA. Unlimited, I did see, I want to say that was your question in Discord. I asked if we are going to talk about Quinn Snyder to the Lakers. Quinn Snyder to the Hawks. We will talk about that whole situation with the Hawks. I have some thoughts on. We had to light the candle. Let me throw that over there. And let's put these notes up. Rage, what's good with you? Yes, bro is finally back. That reminds me. Let me pop out the chat. Let me get the overlay. Copy. Paste. All right. VR, what's good with you? Neptune, what's good with you? Guru, what's good with you? Neptune, what's good with you? Pride 305, bro. Remember this password? I'm dead. What's good? Rage, what's good with you? How you doing? VR said, "Where's the pink?" We red and white today. If you mix the two, it makes pink. I don't know. Weary is dead. Nah, Weary. Weary was in Weary was talking in the Discord the other day. Bulls and Bet. Range, you talking crazy already. Range, you starting at the gate talking crazy already. All right, we got a lot that we want to talk about. I want to talk about the waivers, people signing waivers. It's just a lot. I guess we can start with Pat Bev to the Bulls just to get it out the way. Something simple, something light. Kings fans just fell off. Okay, maybe not understand defensive rating, but Bulls are 105 and are first. Bucks are 109.6. Are they really? Is that really the difference right now? See, now you get me all over the place already. Let's go Bulls. There's no way the Bulls are number one in defensive rating right now. Chicago Bulls. Let me get. Now you just got me curious. I'm like, there's no way the Chicago Bulls are number one in defensive rating. Trying to pull up my stream deck real quick so I can share screen with y'all real quick. Yikes. Let me move all of this stuff over. This desk is just a mess. Oh, okay. All right. Okay. Since the 24th, in the last 24. Okay. Because I'm like, there is no way that's the case. That's why I'm like, what are y'all talking about? Since January 24th. Okay. I did see your all rookie teams. Wave check. Oh, you peep. Yeah, they're not that great today. I ain't gonna lie. They're not that great, but they be there sometimes. Talk about the Heat. We will talk about the Heat a little bit. Ben, what's good with you? He said the flannel is black. Yes, sir, it is. All right, let's get into it. Bulls is just a small sample size. We ended up getting here, so I could pull it up just since we ended up getting here eventually. But right now they're I mean, they still 7th in the NBA in terms of defensive rating, which is a shocker to me. They still 7th. I mean, they're 24th in offense, but they 7th in defense. That I would not have expected that. I would not have expected that at all. But shout out to them. Shout out to them. Uh no, defensive rating is better the lower it is, because that means that's how many points you're um excuse me, that's how many points per 100 possessions that you're holding a team to. So the lower your defensive rating is, the better. No, I'm not woofing right now. I just, you know what I mean? I've been doing a lot of stuff. Ain't really had to do air going all day. We're gonna talk about Matt McClung. We did it a little bit. Quick All-Star thoughts, I guess, to get it out the way, because we didn't necessarily go live since All-Star. I enjoyed the weekend as a whole for what it is, but I'm one of the fans who doesn't have many expectations for All-Star weekend. Because I mean, if you compare NBA's All-Star weekend to like Pro Bowl weekend for the NFL, I'm not really an MLB fan that much, but I mean, outside of the home run derby, I don't know how much people are watching whatever the MLB does for their All-Star break or whatever. It's just not that big of a deal to me as much anymore. Like, I still enjoy it. I still watch most of the stuff. I watched the 3-point contest, the dunk contest. I missed the skills challenge because we was on the way back from dinner, but I watched all of the All-Star game. Somewhat enjoyed it. You know, people were saying it was worst basketball they've ever seen, and yada yada yada. I don't have high expectations for the All-Star game, so I was not upset. I enjoyed the little back and forth between Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum in the third quarter. I thought Dame had went absolutely insane. I thought Dame had some good moments as well. Even Tatum breaking the 55, I want to say he ended with, was impressive to me. People are going to say there was no defense, but if they played crazy defense and somebody got injured, you'd be upset, because then the team would be missing an All-Star for like 3 weeks or whatever. It is what it is. People did make the conversations that players play harder in the summer at just open runs at Rico Hines or something like that. To play devil's advocate, you could counter with missing 3 weeks because you sprained your ankle, and a Rico Hines run is completely different than missing 3 weeks right after All-Star game when there's only like 20 something games left. So it is what it is. Take it all with a grain of salt. You can say they don't take it seriously. You can also say they don't take it seriously because they realize every other player in the NBA is getting basically a completely week off of rest to just relax and spend time with their families, and they have to be at the All-Star game. So it's pros and cons to it. I don't really know if there's any incentive you can make to make these players want to play. I know some people were saying, well, pay them more, pay them more. Some of these guys ain't going to play harder just the way these contracts is. Some of these guys ain't going to play harder if you add another $2 million to the game. Like, legit. As crazy as that sounds, some of these guys have been in the league long enough, they make enough money that it really don't matter to them. That's just my couple of quick thoughts on the All-Star game. I enjoyed it. I think fans should lower their expectations. Maybe that's me being a pessimist, but that's just really how I feel about it. The dunk contest, I thought was smooth. Shout out to Mac McClung. I thought he did great. I actually thought he did a couple of dunks that me personally, I know I've never seen before, so I thought those were really, really good. But other than that, it was smooth. It was smooth. Not Keegan Murray. Kevin Huerter, I don't know what he was doing in the 3-point contest. I think I don't know. The moment got too big for him. I have no idea what happened, but he did not perform to the way I thought he was going to. But Dame took home the 3-point trophy to Portland. So shout out to him for that. I completely missed the skills challenge, like I said, but it is what it is. I enjoyed it. It was cool. It was cool. It was cool. No, we're not talking about weights. All-Star weekend is pretty fun. All right, that's good to know for the MLB. Like I said, I don't really watch MLB, so I wouldn't know. Any recommendations for saving the All-Star game? Go back to East West and have whoever wins the home court advantage in the finals. Rage, I don't think you can do that in terms of home court advantage in the finals. You can't do that because then that defeats the whole purpose of teams trying to get the first or second, fighting for those higher seeds during the regular season. But I think there is something to it if you make it a back to West Coast, East Coast thing. I think there is some pride in your conference winning. But I also realized in the same sentiment, there were a lot of times, especially during the late 2000s, most of the 2010s, where you could argue that the West was just killing the East year after year after year, because there were just seemed to be a better caliber of star in the Western Conference than there was in the Eastern Conference. I felt like we were, pretty even there for a little bit. Then KD and Kyrie go back out west. So I feel like if you went back to East versus West, the West would probably steamroll right now. Maybe, I'm not sure. Could Eastern Conference stars could prove me wrong, but I don't know what necessarily saves it. Personally, I think we have had a couple of years where it was super competitive. I saw TikTok. Somebody was talking about the 2018 or 2019, a couple of years ago, where the game was like super close. It was before, it was just the East and West game. I want to say it was before they did players picking and captains and stuff. So I mean, yeah, every 5-6 years we'll have a super competitive game where it's like, oh, this is what the All-Star game really should be. But that's rare to me, at least. If that feels rare, there are way more games where it's like, I mean, All-Star game is what it is. Than it is, oh, this was the best All-Star game ever. But that's just me. That's just me. Kendrick. Hey, what's good, Kendrick? How you doing, my cuz? I don't know why, but seeing that comment made me just realize we're not live on TikTok yet, and I meant to be live on TikTok, so let me set that up. He asked me, who do I have coming out of the West? Suns, Mavs, Clips, or Lakers? That's tough. I had a podcast literally just last week. I didn't say none of those teams. I think I said Nuggets. But this was before the Kevin Durant trade and all this, that, and the third. But if I had to pick as of now, I might say the Suns. They still got to figure some stuff out. Clippers and Lakers, I don't know. That's tough. That's tough. If I have to pick one out of those teams you just mentioned, I would say the Suns, though. Just based off those teams you mentioned. I'm a pessimist when it comes to the Clippers. We'll talk about that in a second. But I'm definitely a pessimist when it comes to the Clippers. Not that I don't believe in the Clippers. I just think the injury history is something that really you got to think about and take into account. And it's a real thing, unfortunately. Why do I feel like the stream is lagging on my end? I feel like I'm seeing a laggy stream over here on my end for some reason. I don't. Let me know if it's lagging for y'all, but for me, it looks like it's lagging. All right. Well, looks like it stopped lagging on my end. Oh, it's good for you. Okay, that's good. Okay, that's good. Hawk, this the OG when you that's one of the OGs. That's you talk about my boy Kevin. That's my cousin Kendrick. You talking about my boy Kevin that I went to high school with. He used to pull up in a couple of streams. He be in every now and then, but he live in Puerto Rico, so I don't know. I don't know why I said that. It's not like they in a different time zone than we are. We're both still on the East Coast, but he just be busier. You know what I mean? He's trying to start his own business, and he opening up a dope clothing store and stuff. So he don't be on the streams as much. My fault. Y'all know me. One of these days we're gonna be more professional. You know what I mean? I'll have the TikTok stream already ready to go. But today's not one of those days. Live on YouTube, link in bio. Link in bio. Done. All right. All right. Now we can really get into this. For the most part, we talked about almost everything. Not everything, but for the most part, I got a bunch of news I wanted to talk about and stuff. And then I want get Kevin in here. Get Kevin to VR talking. YouTube gang versus TikTok gang. I'm dead. VR said more wins in the finals equals first game at home, All-Star game. Second example, Celtics have the best record. I don't know. I get the concept. That would be something mixing it up, but I think that's too much of a mix up for like a professional, like real life sport. That feels more like a 2K thing than because you could be the team that makes it to the finals, but if you only got like one All-Star, I don't know. I don't think the All-Star game should have actual implications on the finals. I don't think any way you slice it. That's just kind of how I feel about it. K-Love to the Heat. Let's talk about that. All right, let's just go over, because y'all bringing up some stuff I wanted to talk about. Let's just go over just quick news that's happened in the league since the last time we've been here, and then we'll get into the tier list that I put together of like who has the most pressure, who doesn't have the most pressure going into the season. My fault. Y'all see me looking around all over the place because y'all know me. I keep 1,000 tabs open at the same time, and I'm trying to reorganize my tabs so they don't all look the same. I want my apology later to all of y'all if the Lakers don't make the playoffs. Clips get Russ. Clips going to the finals. Neptune. Yeah, the Stars little 1v1 tournament. I don't think you would get that. I don't think you would get the Stars in it. I think if we did a 1v, if the NBA did a 1v1, very similar to the dunk contest and very similar to maybe not as much 3-point contest. I think guys pull up, like shooters, star shooters pull up for the 3-point contest, but very similar to the dunk contest. If we did it, NBA did a 1v1, I think it'd be young guys. I really do think it would be some of the younger guys. And maybe some young guys with some clout, but once a player is like, to me, like legit all-star level or star level in this league, I don't see a lot of guys that's going to want to put their reputation on the line and go and play 1v1 against some of these guys. I don't see it happening. As a fans, of course, we want to see it, but I really don't see it happening. RJ, what's good with you? Thanks for pulling up, my guy. I'm a Mavs fan now. How's it going, Hawk? I'm dead. I'm good with. How you been, my boy? Yeah, exactly. 1v1 would be like Spencer Dinwiddie versus Dwayne Dedmon. It would not be no real stars in it because no real star is going to want to. Terry Rozier would be in the 1v1. Yes, that's the caliber of NBA player that would be in the 1v1 tournament. Which, I mean, I ain't going to hold you. I would watch a Terry Rozier versus Spencer Dinwiddie 1v1, game to 7, 3 dribbles. Like, I would still watch it because NBA players at the end of the day are still some of the most talented people in the world, period. But I don't think it would be like crazy entertaining, personally. All right. Entire Rockets roster. I ain't gonna hold you. Some of the Rockets guys, I would see them in a 1v1. Like, some of the young guys I think would be dope. All right, some of the random stuff that happened around the league in the last couple of days, just to let's to have some fun and have some conversations. I want to talk about the Clippers and Kings game, but I'm gonna wait till we talk about like Russ's impact on the Clippers because I think Russ actually had a really good game with some cool takeaways from that game. Well, I guess I'll wait to talk about the Russ part because I do want to talk about the game because that game was absolutely insane. So one of the craziest games that any of us have ever seen was just the other night. It was, what was this, last night's game? 2 nights ago's? I wish it said like somewhere right here what day this game was. If I go to summary, it'll tell me, I think, but I can't remember exactly when it was. So Saturday. So this was last night. I feel like that should be easier to find. One of the best games we've ever seen in NBA history, right? Second highest scorers game of all time. Regular season ended, I want to say it was 153, 153. It was the highest regular season of all time. One of the few times that you had 2 guys score 40 on the same team. Shout out to, where is it at? Malik Monk and De'Aaron Fox both had 40-something. I feel like I say this all the time, and I beat the dead horse when I talk about the Kings. But one of the things y'all know at this point that I love about the Kings is the addition of Malik Monk and how great of a bucket getter he is in clutch moments for them. And we saw that in that game. 45 from him was absolutely insane. De'Aaron Fox had a really, really good game. Sabonis got, and it's interesting to see. I didn't realize Sabonis gets in foul trouble as often as he did. He fouled out during regulation of this game and ended up in foul trouble down the stretch too. Couldn't even play a lot of the ending of the game, especially in the second half, was dealing with foul trouble. But I even didn't realize that he has the most foul outs in the season with 7. Not that big of a, like, it's something to note, but it doesn't feel like that big of a deal when I watch them on a regular basis. It just surprises me because we talk about, especially myself, I know I talk about Jaren Jackson Jr. fouling out of the games all the time. And it turns out Sabonis is the one leading the league in foul outs this season. But just overall, a really, really great game. Talk about the Clipper side of things real quick. Kawhi. So he ended the game 16 for 22, but during the regulation, I think there was one point where he had 30-something still in the fourth quarter, and he only had missed 2 shots. Like, he could do whatever he wanted on the court. Just putting on a display for sure. It's nice to see, and I don't want to get myself caught up in it because we're going to talk about the Clippers a little bit more later and how I'm still apprehensive about them in terms of what their ultimate playoff goals could look like in terms of a championship. But when Kawhi is rolling, you really do see it that he's one of the best players in the league. Like, the way he plays the game, the way he can get to his spots on the court, make tough shots. One of the best tough shot makers in the league. And I don't know if it gets talked about enough. PG had a really, really good game, but the biggest surprise to me was Norman Powell and Nicholas Batum. They just hit a lot of timely threes. Batum hit so many threes in that fourth quarter to get the Clippers a nice little lead in the game. Norman Powell was big in overtime. Like, they just hit big shots down the stretch. But the Clippers, honestly, I don't want to use the word folded, but folded a little bit. They had a lot of times that in the game, they were up by like 10 in the fourth. Then we're up by like 6 or 7 in the first overtime. They were up in the second overtime. Like, they had opportunities to close out the game, And my wife, when we turned on the game, well, she started watching the game with me in the fourth quarter. And she said, "Who do you think are going to win?" I went with the Clippers because I was like, it's still a close game, but the Clippers are the, I guess you could say, quote unquote, more experienced team just because of age. But you know what I mean? Put some respect on the Kings. They came out and had a really, really good win. So shout out to the Kings. This game, if you missed this game live, you missed one of the best games of the season because the amount of like big shots that were hit this game, especially from the Kings as they were trying to like claw their way back into it, you missed an amazing game if you didn't watch this live. All right. Y'all still talk about the 1v1? I've been good, Hawk. Thanks for asking. They play like a high school. Can't wait for the dream to go. I'm not mad at Jalen. I was talking about the Rockets, so I thought it would have been. I'm dead. Oh, you was watching it? I mean, you can send it my way. I'll check it out. Not Russ's fault. Russ's fault on what? Oh, I mean, we could talk about Russ. I thought Russ had a really, really good debut for the Clippers. He looked good. He had 17 assists he ended this game with. 12 assists. Nope, I lied. That's how many. Ended the game with 14 assists. Getting to the rim a lot. He only made 1 3, but it was a big 3. He made a big 3 down the stretch in the fourth quarter. I want to say either to tie the game or when the game was very, very close. I just remember it was a big shot that he confidently took, and I was happy for him. But he looks good. It was funny because at one point he had assisted to Kawhi, I want to say like 3 or 4 possessions in a row, and the announcer was just like, well, I mean, they needed a playmaker, and Russ can play make, and he knows to get the ball to the hot hand of Kawhi. He just kept finding Kawhi down the stretch, making some good plays, and just, being efficient in the pick and roll with Plumlee. They played Plumlee, which I was also not surprised, but liked what I saw from Plumlee in this game as well. We'll talk about the Clippers some more in a little bit, but overall, I liked their debut. I think they looked solid. Am I like thinking they're going to be championship, going straight to the title? Let's not go all there yet, but I liked what I saw from the Clippers at least. Continuing news around the Heat. Kevin Love signs to Miami Heat. I think it's a really good pickup for the Heat. Maybe not really good. Let me put some caveat on that. It's another big who can stretch the floor. Kevin Love's a really, really good rebounder. I don't think it's going to help them at all defensively, but also when you have Bam, when you have Jimmy, when you have some of the other guys in that team who can play really, really good defense, you can kind of sort of hide Caleb a little bit. I do foresee teams picking on him in the pick and roll, but the spacing that he brings to this team offensively can be really, really good. So we'll see how it works out in the long run. And then also at the same time, did I look up and see what his contract was? At the same time, it's not like it's a terrible amount of pressure. They signed him for, gosh, hold on. Nah, Kevin Love ran away with the bag on the Miami Heat. How he convinced them to sign him for $3 million? Let me see. Let me pull this up. Can y'all see this? There we go. How did Kevin Love? No. How did Kevin Love convince the team to sign him for $3 million? It's a $3 million salary this season. Just the rest of this year, $3 million. I don't know how much of his money he got out of his contract, like out of his buyout with the Cavs. Like, I don't know how much of this he received. Agreed to buy out. Original was 28.9. They reduced it by $1.5 million. So he got bought out and received $27 million and still finessed the Heat for another $3 million. Hey, shout out to Kevin Love and his agents. But I think he could be a solid fit for the Heat. And I think the Heat needed to find some way to add more offense. I've been saying this for a while. I don't know if Kevin Love is that exact piece, but considering they didn't do nothing at the trade deadline, Kevin Love is something. We'll put it that way. Kevin Love is something. And it's also at the same breath, not like we haven't seen basically this same roster go to the NBA Finals, be in the Eastern Conference Finals. So it's not like this is a bad roster. I think they are underperforming to a lot of people's standards so far this season. But come playoff time, we know Jimmy sometimes can be a completely different animal, like a top 5 guy in the league. So we'll see what happens to the Miami Heat. Kevin Love could end up being a great addition. What y'all talking about in here? Is Russ on a minimum? That's a good question. No, Russ is on a wild wild minimum, but I have it right here. Russ's contract. Let me pull this up for you. I looked this up. Russ's contract. I don't even know how this is. He making 700 grand. He making less than $1 million. That's why I'm like, in comparison, Kevin Love's contract, the Russ's contract, I'm shocked that Kevin Love got $3 million because it's literally 3 games, like 25 games left for most of these teams, if that. Definitely not 30 games left. So I saw his contract first, which was, the 700K, and then go to see Kevin Love to see the 3 million just honestly blew my mind and baffled me. Because then when you look at agreed to original buyout, original was this. They only reduced it by, wait, I'm confused now. Agreed to buyout, original was $47 million, reduced by 700,000. So maybe he got this much out of his buyout in terms of like how much money the Lakers had already paid him, and he got enough of his buyout, rest of it for the Jazz to basically finish out to that $46 million in total salary that he made this year. But the Jazz didn't pay him $46 million. I'm just trying to make clear. Most of that he already got because it's only 30 games left by the time he got traded. So he already got paid most of his money. Interesting, though. Interesting, because I know we were talking in the Discord whether Russ would get a minimum, and I'm like, I mean, he probably would. Yeah, he definitely got his 40 M's. And I knew that wasn't going to necessarily be an issue because, players get paid, by game checks. So he's played enough games that most of it's only 20-something games left. So he got 80% of his salary already. It was just really negotiation how much of what was remaining the Jazz was going to pay him for. And it was like they just didn't pay him for 700K. Of it, but he got that back basically what he signed with the Clippers. So he ended up this season basically getting all his 40 mils, which is, shout out to Russ for that. Some other just random news around the league that I thought was interesting. Kevin Love Lonzo Ball out for the season. I did want to talk about that real quick before we get into the other stuff. Lonzo's out for the season. The Bulls announced. I thought what they said it was actually pretty interesting and how they framed it. Bulls announced officially on, let me just exit this out. Let me exit this out. Let me try to exit that out again. Bulls announced officially Tuesday that Lonzo Ball is expected to not play at all this season. He hasn't played since January 14th, 2022, last season. And he's not expected to return until the 23-24 season. This is from their VP of basketball operations. I'm not going to try to... I'm not even Artuis. I'm not even gonna try to pronounce his last name. I'm not gonna butcher it. I'm sorry. Despite making significant increases in strength and function over the past several months, Bulls guard Lonzo Ball continues to experience performance-limiting discomfort during participation in high-level basketball-related activities. Considering the required time period to achieve the necessary level of fitness and a return to play in current stage of the NBA season, Ball will not return this season. The focus on Ball will continue to be on a resolution of discomfort and a full return for the 23-24 season. The wildest part about this whole Lonzo Ball situation, from what I can tell, I didn't realize that was up the whole time. From what I can tell, they don't know what's wrong with him. Like, from what I can tell, they don't know what's wrong with Lonzo. So I wish him all the best. I don't know when he's going to return. They're saying they want him back for next season, but there's no real guarantee on if he'll even be back for next season. So we wish Lonzo the best of luck. I don't know when he's coming back. We don't know when he's coming back. It's a scary situation on the low. On the low, it's a very, very, very scary situation because I like what the Bulls were trying to do. Do I think that even roster with Lonzo Ball was quote unquote championship contention or anything like that? No. But I think they would have been could have been the top 6 seed, like looking for that, fighting for the 5 spot maybe. Like I think they could have been a good team in the mix in the Eastern Conference if they had Lonzo on that team. That's how good they were looking when he was playing there. But now it's just like, it sucks. I just hope he's able to play basketball because in the back of my head, it's like, is there a world where he just doesn't come back from this? It could be me over exaggerating for sure. But considering from everything I've seen, the doctors don't even have a diagnosis for this yet, to my understanding. Now, if I'm wrong, please let me know in the comments. I'm happy to be wrong on this. But from what I've seen, I haven't seen a diagnosis of what's even going on with him. They're still trying to figure this out, and we've been dealing for this for almost like a year and a half now at this point, it feels like. Low Gaming, what's good with you, my guy? Thanks for pulling up. Nav, what's good with you? My profile pic looked like Hawk a little. Nah, that's crazy. That is insane. That does not look like me. I don't think y'all know what I look like. Y'all don't know what I look like. Lonzo's music over Drake's music. I'm dead. Hey G, what's good with you, my guy? How you been? All right. So next up, we want to talk about. There's a YouTube channel that broke down the Zoe injury. Is it Let me see. I was just watching it. Is it this guy? Is it a doctor? Give me half a second. You talking about this guy, Guru? Dr. Brian Shutter. Let me go to this drawing. This was a pretty good video. Kind of broke down everything about the injury. His name's, what is you saying? Brian Sutter, MD. He's a doctor. He does a lot of like sports science stuff, a lot of injury stuff. I didn't finish it. I started it, but then I realized I had to get my notes together. But this was a kind of a good video breaking down the injury and stuff like that. If that's something you're interested in learning more about it. Oh, Gory, that's what you're talking about. Even if someone's interested, I could even do this to be nice. Y'all probably not that interested, but I'll share it anyway. I thought it was a good video. G, you chilling? I appreciate that. I feel that. Saw the Lonzo Ball video in the chat. If just breaking down his injury, if anybody's interested. So, what are the trades that happened at the trade deadline? And yes, we's gonna get to this tier list eventually, but we catching up with a lot of news. What are the trades that happened at the trade deadline that I won't say went under the radar, but I'll say even myself didn't really talk about much when we did our trade deadline stream last Thursday, or I guess 2 Thursdays ago by now. Was Jakob Poeltl getting traded from the Spurs to the Raptors? So if you don't know, just to give you a nice little refresh, Jakob Poeltl traded to the Raptors for Khem Birch, a 2024 first round pick, 23 second, and a 25 second, right? And in that time frame, since he's been a Toronto Raptor, they're 3-0, which, obviously is good to, come back after All-Star game winning games. That's what, everybody wants to do. What did I do with that fast? Boop, boop. But Poeltl's having a really, really good game. So it's like really good game so far in his time back with them. So last night, is that last night? Yeah. So last night wasn't nothing crazy. He was 9-4. Excuse me. He was 9, but he still had 14 boards. Game before that, he was 21-18. Game before that, he was 30-9. Now, it could be a matter of just new situation, being able to use him differently in a new environment. Sometimes when guys get traded to new teams, they blow up and, trying to go crazy. It also was against the New Orleans Pelicans and the Orlando Magic. The Pelicans missing Zion, but I mean, I'm still surprised that he dropped almost a 2020 game, considering, to my knowledge, Valanciunas is still there. Like, I don't know if he was injured. I'll be honest, I didn't watch this game or really look much into it. Nah, Valanciunas, he was there. He was hooping. He played 30 minutes. So shout out to Poeltl. Shout out to the Raptors for finally doing what I was asking them to do all season long, which is get a center. And I wasn't asking them to go out and get no crazy center that you have to play all the time or have to give all this money to, because of course the Raptors still have the ability to go small ball when they want to, throw Siakam at the 5, down the stretch of games from time to time. But I thought they needed a big body just to play the 5, and Jakob Poeltl fits that. He's the caliber of center that I wanted them to go and get, and I'm happy he hit the ground running and immediately started playing well for them. And I wanted to correct myself. They're not 3-0 since his time's there. They're technically 4-1. He's played 5 games, not 3. I misread that. That's my fault. His last couple of games have been pretty solid. His first couple of games, he was 12, 6, and 6. But them two, he popped off. So I do want to correct myself a little bit there. But I still think it's a good move for the Raptors to go out and get Jakob Poeltl. I think it was a good trade, smart trade. All right. Rain says, wait, have you ever watched Breaking Bad or Walking Dead? Both are actually absolutely amazing shows. Fun fact, though, neither of which are shows I finished. Breaking Bad, I think I watched the first 3 or 4 seasons of it. I got like 2 more to finish, but at this point, it's been years. I don't really remember much of it. And The Walking Dead, I started when I was still in college, and I think I finished the first 4 seasons, but then stopped. Both amazing shows. I just never really kept up with it. Yeah, I heard the current season is fire, Walking Dead, but I just haven't kept up with it. Best shows already made. That's a fact. You know, it's hilarious. Marshall Donald. No idea who that is. Not even gonna lie to you. Sleazy, what's good with you, my guy? What's the vibes? You doing good? We doing good. We about to start this tier list in a second because I'm sure that's what everybody actually pulled up to see and talk about. And if you count The Office, can't top that either. That is true. That is true. Pascal Shakim is crazy. That is crazy. Breaking Bad is the best show, maybe except The Wire. That's tough. I struggle with saying best shows. The Office is hilarious, though. I ain't gonna talk about that. Hey Hawk, we ain't gonna talk about the Sixers game. That's crazy. I was watching that game too. That was a tough game. And I said when I was watching that game, I was like, yo, we need to get this win. We just lost to you. I was just telling Mar, if we just lost to them a couple weeks ago, like right before All-Star, we lost to them and they didn't even have all their starters. And then Tatum hit that. It was a good game. It was a good game. Y'all did good there. The Office and Spanish food is definitely a vibe. It's definitely a vibe, my guy. Dang, that's crazy. That would have been a good game to go to. We gotta go to one. We gotta go to one. You know what's crazy? Somebody asked me on Instagram 2 days ago and said, "What's a matchup you want to see the most in the playoffs?" I want the Celtics. Like if I'm the Sixers, I want the Celtics. I want all the smoke with the Celtics because like the Celtics, I feel like has been the fly on our back or like the nagging, you know what I mean, just in the back of our minds that the team that we struggle against or have struggled against over the last couple of years. They've knocked us out of the playoffs twice. In the last like 6 years, I want to say. It's like the Celtics is the team I want to beat. I want the Celtics in the second round of the playoffs, and I want to beat them. Like that's the type of energy I'm coming for. Like I want that matchup. I think it'll be a good matchup to watch, and I think as a Sixers fan, that's I want that matchup. I want that matchup. Yeah, Celtics not winning easy. Oh my gosh, free eats. Yeah, I don't think it'd be easy for either. Like I think that's a Game 7 series. It goes. It could go either way. Obviously, I'd be rooting for my Celtics, but I think that would be an absolutely amazing series to watch. And yes, that Embiid full. I know it didn't count as soon as he released it. Like when he left it, I was like, he released it late. Just the fact that it went in, though, I was like, that's insane. But I knew he had released it late. Yeah. Oh wow, if the playoffs started today, the Clippers and Suns would be first round. That would be an amazing series. We talked about Jakob Poeltl. Oh, Patrick Beverley signed to the Bulls. It's nothing crazy, but I think it's a good pickup. Like I really do think that's a really nice pickup for the Bulls. I think what Patrick's very similar to what Patrick did for the Timberwolves a couple years ago. I think he could do something similar for the Bulls. Now I don't know if the Bulls are going to make the playoffs. I think they might end up in a play-in situation because if we look at the NBA standings right now, what are we looking at here in the Eastern Conference? I should know this, but I don't. So right now the Bulls are 11. So they're one spot out of the play-in, looking at that 9 and 10 spot with the Wizards and the Raptors. I don't know if they're going to take the Raptors spot, but it's not impossible for them to take the Wizards spot. I mean, really ain't possible for the Raptors either, but I would be very disappointed if the Raptors fell out of the play-in. The Wizards, on the other hand, I can see it. I can see a possibility where that happens. Patrick Beverley brings some of that infectious just dog that he got in him. Can make something happen for the last 20 games. He'd be excited to see. Shout out to him. For also being able to go back home and play at home. All right. I think that's. Let me see. How long we've been? All right. We've been live for almost 40 minutes. That's all the new stuff. Let's get into this tier list a little bit. Let's see what I'm talking about before we move on to that. Pat Bev is a horrible pickup. They have like 9 guards coming off the bench. So, you know what's interesting? He talked about that in his on his the Patrick Beverley podcast. I pulled up the clip. We don't need to watch it. It's 2 seconds. I can explain it. He basically said it was a split between going to the Bulls, going to the Warriors. Well, the Warriors, it's funny that you mentioned the Bulls have 9 guards because he's like, the Warriors have mad guards. And he was like, well, he has the opportunity to play there, gets to get in a rotation with the Bulls, to help the Bulls get to the playoffs. And yes, while they do have Caruso, Kobe White, Dosunmu, I mean, Kobe White and Dosunmu's minutes could be some of them replaced with Pat Bev minutes. Like, I wouldn't be surprised. There's no, at least the way the Bulls are running right now, if they had a younger look to them, if they were trying to be younger, I can see, yeah, you're going to play Kobe White, you're going to play Ayo more. But since the Bulls are clearly kept, DeRozan and DeMar, DeRozan and Zach LaVine, they're not necessarily going for like the young development look. So if Pat Bev is earning minutes over Ayo and Kobe White, you gonna play Pat Bev over Ayo and Kobe White. So I think that's why he went there, because he thinks, which I don't think is a crazy thought, he thinks he can earn minutes over those two guys, and that's not a crazy thought to me. Because I think Caruso is going to solidify himself in the lineup for sure. Just his defense and, 3-point shooting is there. And I like Kobe White and Ayo. Like, I like them a lot. But I also think Pat Bev can earn minutes over those guys. DeRozan and DeMar are my favorite NBA duo currently. Y'all don't let me slack, bro. Y'all don't let me miss nothing. Nah, I just run Pat Bev at the 4. It's crazy. Y'all don't let me make no mistakes. It's all good though. It's all good. Where's the tier list? What we got? So the tier list, I'll be honest. So this is kind of more of an opportunity to talk about some of the bigger moves that happened. And again, it's a continuation of just some of my thoughts. It's nothing like crazy. I don't have every player and person ain't on this. This is just some of the guys who I think have some pressure, if you will, in terms of just the rest of the season, in terms of expectations for them. These are guys I was just thinking about this past week and a half, wanted to share. I thought it was interesting stuff. If you got more people that y'all think are under more pressure, let me know in the comments. Y'all know me, I'm always down for a conversation. But I know a lot of people wanted to talk about a bigger picture of Russ on the Clippers. And so let's start with that. So this is what the tier list looks like, just to start. It's very simple. Not a ton of players on it, not a ton of teams on it, because I didn't want this to take forever and have y'all here all night. But there's a couple of teams and stuff that I had thoughts about. Some teams, some players you can see. It's a lot of Western Conference stuff that just was on my mind. And the first team I want to talk about is the Clippers. I think the Clippers as an organization are under a lot of pressure. And this is why. So you made this move for Russ. You signed him. We'll talk about how Russ fits into this in a second, but I think he is a really, really good fit. But when I look at Paul George and Kawhi, they both have player options for their 24-25 seasons. So they have the rest of this season under contract, and they have next season under contract. And then the year after that, they both have player options. The reason I say the Clippers are under a lot of pressure is because this postseason, whatever happens this postseason, can be a big factor. And both, either if Kawhi and Paul George, decide if they want to sign some sort of extension, if the Clippers themselves want to offer some sort of extension to both of these guys. And I think there might be some more pressure on Paul George than Kawhi, because I think because Kawhi has the championships, the MVPs, he's more of a made man, if you will. And I don't even actually honestly know if there's that much pressure on Paul George, because I don't think we're looking for Paul George to cement himself this new legacy. Like, I think we know who Paul George is at this point. But I think just the pressure on the Clippers to figure out, is this going to work? Do we, offer an extension to these guys? If we even offer them extension, do they want to stay here? Do they believe in this organization? Because, hey, if this goes south again in the playoffs, the Clippers easily could be Kawhi and Paul George could easily be like one of the two could say this Clippers organization isn't going to put a team around us that can win a championship. Now, there are a lot of details in this. There's some onus on Paul George and Kawhi, because as we all know, these past basically 3 playoff runs, both of them either one of them or both of them have been injured for the past 3 playoff runs. So you're obviously not going to win a championship if one of your 2 best players aren't on the court. But it all goes into it at the same time. It could be like, hey, well, we tried it here. It ain't worked. We couldn't be healthy. It's time for one of us to move on. The Clippers could say, we tried it. It ain't worked. Y'all wasn't healthy. It's time for us to move on. We're not offering you. So I think just the organization as a whole, once again, to me, is one of the, when I think about organizations and players with pressure, a lot of pressure is on the Clippers organization as a whole. Now, on the flip side of things, I think there's some pressure on Russ. I don't think there's a ton of pressure on Russell Westbrook, but I do think there is some. The reason there's not a ton of pressure is because, honestly, we talked about this in the Discord. The Clippers don't have to play him. If it ain't fitting, if it ain't working, we looked at it earlier. He's only making $700,000 to end the rest of this season. Like, they don't got a lot of money in on him. The Lakers had to play Russ because they was paying him $40 million. Like, it's not like you're not going to play him. But they don't have to play him. But all that being said, so far, and I mean, it's only been one game. It was one of the highest scoring games in NBA history. But so far, what we've seen from Russ and what I thought Russ could bring to this team was, I mean, honestly, same thing I thought John Wall could bring, so I could be wrong, is playmaking. This Clippers organization, this Clippers team has needed a good playmaker. And Russ did that in his debut game with 14 assists, and he didn't even play none of the overtime because he fouled out, unfortunately, in the fourth. So he could have ended with more assists. We don't know. But I like what I've seen so far from him. And the reason I say he does have some pressure and, but not the most pressure or not none at all is because teams are going to be looking to see how the rest of these 20 games go. If it goes well, the Clippers might say, hey, this worked out perfectly. We'd love to give you a home here. Here's a contract offer in the summer. Or it could be another team being like, okay, we see, because I think the last season and a half with the Lakers is really ingrained in a lot of NBA fans and just, I think, even some GMs and front offices' minds. So if Russ can, reprove to the NBA in these 20 some odd games that, hey, I'm still a very valuable piece to a team that's trying to make a deep playoff push and, seeing how he plays with the Clippers. So there's some pressure there, but not the most, because I do think he's going to play at least well enough to get, another opportunity to play somewhere else. It just really depends what that money looking like on that next contract. That's why, to me, there's some pressure, but not like the most pressure. So they got to trade half their bench. Are you talking about, what were we talking about? We were talking about RJ. They need size, Schaefer, Ben, sign to White. You talking about the Bulls? Sign to White, trade for Ben, they need size. You talking about the Bulls? I don't know. We talked about the Heat briefly, Rage. I just said I like the Kevin Love pickup. I'll be honest, I think y'all roster is still one of the better rosters in the Eastern Conference. Y'all just, I don't know what be going on with y'all, because y'all in the playoffs, y'all turn it up. I gave y'all some flowers. We talked about it. I think the K Love pickup was nice. Clippers got all the pressure in the world. I agree. I think there's a lot of pressure on this team as a whole. It's funny, Sleazy. So I didn't put Jokic on here, but I was going to talk about him when we talk about Embiid. So I'll say what was going to say about Jokic, and then I'll tell you where I have Embiid in the Sixers. We'll just segue into that because people love to talk about the two centers at the same time. Jokic isn't on my list at all when it comes to pressure. And this is, I guess, kind of why, because if I'm going to be consistent about myself and be consistent how I talk about basketball, one of the conversations we have when we're talking about Embiid, and we'll get to the second, is the fact that he hasn't come close to an Eastern Conference Finals yet. He's been second round exit. My wife makes fun of my Sixers all the time for that because of that. But one of the things that I've heard a lot of people say about Jokic recently is Jokic is the most pressure to make it to the finals. If he gets there with a third MVP and doesn't, I'm pushing some nasty narratives. A lot of people have been saying that, like, Jokic needs to see more playoff success. But I think a lot of people forget that Jokic and the Nuggets, it was the bubble, right? But they went to the Western Conference Finals. In 2020, they were at the Western Conference Finals. Now, yes, has he won two MVPs since then, or maybe expectations risen a little bit. But him and his team still went to the Western Conference Finals on a very impressive run. I want to say at least one, if not both of those, were 3-1 comebacks on the way to the Western Conference Finals. Like, teams were just folding against them, and they were having some amazing comebacks. So they've been to the Western Conference Finals. They've had some playoff success. Now, did they go and win the championship? No, but that was also the year they went up against a really good Lakers team, and Anthony Davis playing out of his mind. So they lost to the Lakers in the bubble. Now, the reason I say me personally, and now this is where I think it gets a little, I think the discourse gets a little weird between NBA fans, because it was the bubble that he went to the Western Conference Finals in. It depends on how you view the bubble, because now this is forcing, I think, a lot of fans to find a conflict within themselves, where some people still to this day be like, oh, what was the bubble? It was a Mickey Mouse ring, talking about the Lakers and whatever. But then when they want to defend Jokic and his playoff legacy, because you can make that argument, Sleazy, which is a valid argument, that in at least the 2 seasons where he was Finals MVP, there wasn't much playoff success. 2 seasons where he was regular season MVP, there was not much playoff success, but he also did not have his team. So I do think I don't think a ton of pressure on Jokic and the Nuggets for this season. That's why they didn't make this list, but it is a situation I'm personally going to be keeping an eye on. But I've also seen this team make it to in Western Conference Finals. So I know a lot of people are having this conversation in this discourse over the last couple of weeks. You're not the first person I've seen say it. You're the first person in the chat, so we're talking about it, Sleazy. But you're not the first person to see say it. But the reason Jokic is not on this list for me because him and his team have proven it, to me at least, because I respect the bubble. Now, if you don't respect the bubble, then it is a different conversation. Then you are saying, well, he's never made the Western Conference Finals. You got to say it in quotation marks because technically he was there, but you say it was the bubble, right? So I think it's just a cool moment. One, because it's something else that happened in the bubble that I think people just forget about. And two, I think there are legit fans who defend the fact that Jokic made it to the Western Conference Finals, but also call it a Mickey Mouse ring. And it was the same run. So I don't know. Interesting thoughts to me. You think Jokic has pressure on him? I mean, I'm not mad at that. I'm not mad at it. I don't think there's much pressure because he's already been to the Western Conference Finals. And no, is that everything? No. But in terms of like people are having the conversations, well, he hasn't done anything in the playoffs at all. People be giving nods and giving, shout outs and a head nods when people make a conference finals. People be giving head nods for those. I don't mean much. Obviously, it's not as much as making the finals. It's not as much as winning the chip. I'm sure, of course, Jokic and the Nuggets want to make it to the finals. But me personally, I'm not as hard on them because they haven't done it yet. Because they have had, I guess I'll say, more playoff success than my Sixers. So I guess that's why I got to be a little more lenient on them, I guess, if you will. And we're also talking about it like this. In a way, you make a street to MVPs. Well, he hasn't won it yet. We don't know who's going to be the MVP. That's just me. Like, he hasn't won it yet. So that's also why I guess I'm not putting so much on it. And also, it's a regular season award, not a playoff award. You got to think about the context of the two back-to-back MVPs. We knew they weren't going to make a long playoff run because his team wasn't there. So it's like, what is he like? He's damned if you do, damned if you don't. Like, was he not supposed to win those two regular season MVPs? Like, he won it because he didn't have his teammates, but we all knew he wasn't going to go on a long playoff run because he didn't have his teammates. Now, does he have his teammates now? Yeah. So we'll see what happens, but I don't know. To me, the Nuggets and Jokic don't have as much pressure as, and let's go ahead and get into it, continued on with the tier list. I'm giving Embiid and the Sixers a lot of pressure. I'm putting Embiid specifically here because I think a lot of the pressure, of course, the Sixers rise and falls with how well Embiid is playing. I know a lot of people have different opinions on the Sixers roster and how they allocate their money. I'm looking at you, Tobias Harris. I've heard a lot of rumors over the last couple of weeks of apparently there's still talks of James Harden wants to go back to or could potentially go back to Houston. I ain't gonna lie to you. I don't know what he would see in Houston and why he would be going back to Houston. I don't see the benefit for it. But this is now the second time in this regular season we've heard it. Now, to be honest with you, both times have not really been from sources that I know that well, if I'm keeping it a B. But the pages that like reposted it are pages I get a lot of information from. So it's kind of like the primary source I don't really know that well, but the secondary source we usually sharing viable information. So something to keep an eye on. But for me, like we talked about when we talked about Jokic, no, the Sixers have not made it past the Eastern Conference second round yet. I think this is a year that we have one of the best rosters we've ever had. And I think the goal for the Sixers, to me, is the Eastern Conference. I'm thinking saying the Sixers have the type of roster that can go to the finals. A lot of people calling me crazy for it. It's, perfectly fine. You can say it's fandom. It's cool with me. At worst, I want to see Eastern Conference Finals, but I do think we got a roster that could go to the NBA Finals. The only way I will not be like, yo, I'm completely like, y'all got to watch out for me and make sure I'm all right if we go out in the second round is if it's like a game 7 and Embiid and Giannis is battling, going back and forth and having an amazing game and we lose off like a very, very close game 7 and Sixers played perfect basketball and the Bucks just happen to outplay us. That is the only way I will be okay with a second round exit against the Milwaukee Bucks and everybody's healthy, they're playing amazing. That's the only way I'd be okay with it. Other than that, to me, it's like we need to make it to the finals. We need to make it to the Eastern Conference Finals. That's the expectations that I have on the Sixers, and I think that's the expectations that a lot of people have because a lot of people have been talking about the Sixers for years. The Sixers have been one of the teams that's been kind of like in the mix. I'll put that in quotation marks for the last couple of years. That a lot of people is like right there and maybe that second tier of teams in the Eastern Conference, but everybody's wondering if they can move into that first tier of teams in the East. and that comes with playoff success. So we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. Will Tatum be seen as a top 3 to 5 player if he wins a ring this season? What do you mean, like 3 to 5 player in the league right now? Depending on who you're talking to, he probably is top 3 to 5. I mean, he's in MVP conversation. He's top 5 in MVP conversation. So depending on who you're talking to, he probably is already a top 3 to 5 player in the NBA. How old is Jokic? Not old. Jokic age. That would decide a lot for you. That's hilarious. He's 28 years old, so he's like smack dab in the middle of his prime. For reference, Joel Embiid's 28. Giannis is also 28. They're all 28 years old, smack dab at their primes. And I'm gonna keep it a bean with y'all. Y'all might not like the take, but even if he does win a 3rd straight MVP and doesn't make it to the finals, it doesn't make it any less. It doesn't make it a fraudulent MVP. To me, at least, it don't, because it's a regular season award, not a playoff award. Well, I'm not even gonna get there. We'll have that conversation. If it comes to that, we'll have that conversation when we get there. But I'm not even gonna go down that rabbit hole right now. It's all good. No one likes the Celtics, but people in Boston, but JT better than those 3. What are y'all talking about? What are y'all talking about? What are y'all talking about? We just passed it over our comment, which is enough to put a Jordan on top. What? Oh, who is RJ? Yeah, RJ is a Jordan. I just can't say that full name, so I'll call him RJ. I be butchering his name, and I don't want to butcher his name. Wow, that's... Oh, Jamal Murray was better than Jokic in those series? I mean, Jamal Murray was cooking up something crazy. The year that him and Donovan was going back-to-back going crazy, he was cooking up something, like, absolutely insane. I feel like if we looked at the numbers, he probably did have better numbers than Jokic in those series. Off the top of my head, I don't remember the gameplay well enough to say he was better completely. My point still is, though, that team went to the Western Conference Finals in the bubble. That's all. That's all. He's better than the last 3 you just named. Stop comments on RJ. Who's better than the last 3? He's passing range. He ain't better than Giannis, Jokic, and Luka, Steph, Durant, or Embiid. Who, Tatum? It's tough. I had this conversation very similarly. It was a very surprising moment that I agreed with the player's choice clip. And it was Mars talking about basically, if you have any range of these 12 players and you're top 10 all time, like, I'm cool with your list. And I was like, I mean, honestly, that's facts. It's like kind of like that. And for me right now in the NBA, you got listed right here: Giannis, Jokic, Luka, Steph, Durant, and Embiid. Add Tatum to that. Any order of those 7 players is your top 5. I'm probably cool with. Like, I'm keeping it a bean. Any order of them 7 is your top 5. There's an argument for it. Truly, there's an argument for it. I don't think it's as simple as cut and dry as, oh, he not top 5 like at all. You definitely can make an argument for it. All right, Guru, no problem, man. Thanks for pulling up, my guy. Other than 3-point shooting, throwing the defense, I don't know. Oh, Mega is saying JT is better than Embiid. Embiid ain't balling is crazy. And Embiid ain't balling is absolutely insane. Guy who's second in the NBA, I want to say second in scoring right now, second or third, could still finish first in scoring. Ain't balling is crazy. Sometimes I be wondering if Mega VR just be trolling us. Sometimes I do be wondering that every now and then. Giannis, Jokic, Luka, Curry, AD, Dame. Who's healthy? Who you talking about? Well, not now when he healthy, he was. Oh, you talking about KD? I don't know what y'all talking about in here. I don't know what y'all talking about. We gonna move on to the next one. All right, next person. Next up on the list, what do I have here in terms of pressure? People, we just talking. Honestly, the tier list just give me an opportunity in a concise and organized manner to just talk about teams I wanted to talk about anyway. It's all a trick, and y'all be along for it, so I appreciate you. We talked about the Clippers. We talked about Embiid and my Sixers. Let's talk about these Suns real quick. So I got the Suns in different spots because I got the Suns as a whole. We got KD because he just moved there, and we can talk about Chris Paul. I feel like that's just been a big conversation that's been on my mind lately. I'm gonna put Chris Paul under immense amount of pressure. I like low key might put Chris Paul here for a couple of reasons. Chris, listen to me, Chris. This might be your opportunity. This might be your last chance to win a chip. It might be your last real chance to win a chip because now I don't know how truthful it is, right? We'll see what happens because it depends how y'all do in the playoffs. But I'm hearing rumors left and right. I'm seeing reports almost every other day talking about there's a world where Kyrie can go to the Suns in this summer, and that we all know if Kyrie goes there, that means you getting packed up, you getting shipped out, and who knows where you're gonna end up. Y'all gonna have who know Kevin Durant's still injured, of course. We all know this. I'll be honest, I don't know when he coming back off the top of my head. We got about 20 some odd games left. As long as he back by playoffs, y'all could make something happen. Now, is it going to be all smooth, easy, whatever? Obviously not. You got to figure out how to integrate him into the offense. But it shouldn't be that hard to integrate a dude who's scoring 30 on almost 50, 40, 90 splits. Like, that shouldn't be impossible to integrate into your offense. So y'all going to have to make that work. We call you the point guard, Chris. You're going to have to be the point guard. But the reason he's under the most pressure is because, like I said, if they decide to ship him out, this could be his last opportunity to win a championship. I want Chris Paul to win a championship in his career so bad. I think like that's honestly the only knock on his career in terms of when people go to rank him all time and ranking him amongst other all-time great point guards. The only downside you can say is his playoff success. He doesn't have a championship yet. This is the best opportunity for him. This relieves a lot of the scoring pressure. We just need you to go out there, and be the best point guard you can. Ooh. Child. We just need him to go out there and be the best point guard he can be in the playoffs. Chris, you're under a lot of pressure, but I wish you the best of luck. Continuing on with the Suns. Look, I'm going to tell you right now, KD and the Suns, though, because people have been talking about them, that's why I made them there. To me, they're under no pressure at all. Kevin Durant is locked up on this roster until, when did I put down? 2026, Kevin Durant's on a contract until. And so he going to be here. So, and he's coming off an injury. So the Suns as an organization to me is going to be like, KD, we would love to have you back. We want you here back in time for the playoffs. But it's also like, well, we're not going to say go crazy because you don't want to make this injury any worse. We got plenty of time. You're going to be here for years. Ayton's on a contract till 2026. Booker's on a contract until 2028. That's our big three. That's the future. Like, that legit is the future. And then we already know there's a world where we might get Kyrie instead of Chris Paul. So for the Suns and Kevin Durant themselves, no. To me, there is absolutely no pressure. And to be honest with you, at this point, we all been saying for a while, are they going to move DeAndre Ayton? Are they going to move DeAndre Ayton? It's just been this elephant in the room almost all season long. Do you need to move him now? Like, I mean, we can make this work. I think DeAndre Ayton, it's a mentality thing for him. It really, really is. It's a mentality thing to turn into this, what I think could be this great two-way defensive rim running big that if he buys into that style of play, could fit so well on this team and look like legit one of the best bigs in the league. But so often DeAndre isn't as aggressive as we would like him to be. He wants to get the ball in the post and have more post-ups from time to time. I don't know if that's necessarily the way that the Suns want to play basketball, but that seems to be the way he wants to play basketball. But when games where he's buying in and just dominant and rebounded and finishing well around the rim, and he looks great and he fits. But sometimes games where he wants the ball, wants to post up, he can kind of slow it down, make it look a little clunky. I'm very curious to see what Monty Williams decides to do and how he decides to integrate Kevin Durant into the system. But once again, it ain't much pressure here to me. It really ain't. Y'all talking about top 10s in here? What is y'all in here talking about? Y'all know me. Y'all know I am not a top 10 guy. What is this a top 10 or y'all just ranking players in random orders? Because why am I seeing a top 10 list and Siakam's names on it? Like, what am I looking at here? Is this top 10 guys in the NBA right now? Right? If this is what I'm looking at, I, Kawhi, LeBron, Kyrie. These y'all favorite guys in the league right now? Because I'm seeing Shea here. What are y'all ranking? Somebody got to tell me what these rankings are. What are y'all ranking? Also, I seen RJ put Jokic at 5. I think this might be a project by How Slowly Fit AI. All right, I have to leave for all right, Guru. Is this current top 10 in the league? Like top 10 current guys that's playing? What do you mean by current? Like, it's just how they playing right now? You taking health into this? Like, how current is you talking? It's cool. I mean, either way, it's cool. I ain't gonna lie. Seeing Siakam's name just surprised me. But shout out to Siakam. Shout out to Siakam. He nice. Y'all gonna take that as Siakam hate? It's not. It's really not. It's not Siakam hate. I'm just saying shout out to him. All right, continuing on with the tier list. The Siakam one did surprise me, but continuing on with the tier list. I want to talk about the Kings. The Kings as a whole, I'm going to put them in a lot of pressure, and I'm going to tell you why. It's not hate to the Kings. I love what they've been doing all season. I thought, like I said, in that close game, that crazy 176, the one whatever game, I thought the Clippers were going to win when I tuned into the fourth quarter. And the Kings have shown, and this was actually the Kings coming off of another close win the night before. That was off of a back-to-back, if I'm not mistaken. I can't remember who they played the night before. But I've liked what I've seen from the Kings. They have pieces that I like on a team. A point guard that, how to get a bucket, a big man that you can rely on, shooters around them. You got Malik Monk, who I talk about all the time, but just a guy who can go out and get buckets. I didn't mean roster. I meant schedule, because I'm almost certain they did play. That was it couldn't have been a back-to-back, because they playing right now against the... Oh, no. How do I always mess this up? Okay, yeah, it was a back-to-back. I'm not tripping, yeah, because they did just I thought they beat the Trailblazers on Thursday, and then they had that crazy double overtime game against the Clippers, so that was a back-to-back. And they ended up winning both games, so shout out to them. Right now, going up against the Kings. Going up against the Thunder. But my point here with the Kings is, y'all are the third seed in the West. A lot of these teams made moves to get better. We're looking at the Suns. We're looking at the Clippers. We're looking at the Mavericks. All three of those teams that are right on your heel when we look at it. The Kings are right here at 34-25. The Suns are 33-29. The Clippers 33-29. 32-30 from the Mavs. But all three of these teams did something that they believe, can make them better. And all three of those teams, I think, you're gonna have a target on your back, is what I'm saying, Kings. So I think there's a world where y'all might even be able to just keep the 4 seed. But I would love for y'all to surprise me and keep that 3 seed. Do I think it's going to happen? I'm going to be honest, Kings fans, no. I do not think the Kings are going to keep the 3 seed. Would I be very pleased and love to see it? Of course. I'm not a hater. I just don't think it will happen. I would love to see y'all keep at least the 4. I don't want to see y'all slide all the way down to the 5. I just think it would be a little demoralizing almost going into the playoffs, considering how long and for how many weeks have y'all had the 3 seed for a little bit, that I've gotten used to seeing y'all up there. But y'all are under, to me, a great amount of pressure to keep at least the 4 seed. At least the 4 seed, Kings fans. How did the Kings have more pressure than the Suns? I guess it's relative pressure, right? Look at it this way. That's an excellent question, Range. The Kings have pressure because of the storyline of just where they are, fought hard all season. They're the 3 seed. Beautiful playoff story, putting this playoff drought to bed. I would love to see them finish high. The Suns don't have as much pressure as a whole, to me, because the Suns' big move was landing Kevin Durant. the Suns are going to be title contenders for the next 3 seasons as long as Kevin Durant and Devin Booker are on the team together. And the fact that Kevin Durant's still not back from the injury is why they don't have as much pressure. In terms of the grand scheme of pressure, sure. Yeah, the Suns don't. I mean, the Suns have more pressure than the Kings do because the Suns are trying to win the championship. But in terms of just this microcosm in this moment and just honestly having some fun talking about basketball, the Kings have pressure because I want to see them not fall all the way to like the 5-6 seed, which I think is possible in a weird world with the other teams trying to get better. That's all. I guess take it with a grain of salt, if you will. See, I completely disagree because what the Suns' big move isn't just for this season. The Suns' big move was for the next couple of seasons. And I'm not even saying the Kings are frauds or anything like that. I'm just, the pressure is on the Kings to keep their 3 spot because I'm sure the Kings would love to have home court advantage in the first round of the playoffs. If they drop to the 5 seed, that's no longer a thing. I'm sure they would love to have that. So if they can keep that, that's some pressure there. And I like that for them. I like to see what this young team can do because I think this is a team who, for the most part this season, I don't want to say surprised a lot of people, but yeah, never mind. I can say surprised. I don't think any, if I go back and look, I doubt I will see any video or, article from Bleacher Report, Ringer, whoever that had the Kings as a 3 seed going into this season. I seriously doubt that. So yes, they did surprise everybody, but I'm sure they would love to be able to keep that momentum going and at least have home court advantage in the first round. That's just me though. I still have no idea what y'all talk about in this chat. No idea. Y'all saying borderline top 10, borderline 20. That's my current. Hey, Daniel, what's good with you, my guy? How you doing? That's my current top 20. Giannis, Jokic, Luka, Embiid, KD, Curry, Tatum, Bron, Dame, SGA, Ja, D. Mitch, Zion, Booker, Kyrie, JB, Pascal, PG, Jimmy. Huh. Oh, yeah, Siakam wasn't in that. I would have left the book in there maybe over Siakam and Zion over Siakam. Jaylen Brown I might have a conversation with, but Jimmy ain't top 20. Interesting. It's moments like this where I'd be wondering if VR be trolling us. Jimmy top 20 to me. Maybe he like 2021 in your book. Now, if you tell me he like 35, I'm gonna look at you crazy. But to me, Jimmy top 20. I'll put it to this way. Either Jimmy or Bam. One of them two on most people's top 20 list, one of them two got to be in it. And since I feel like most people won't put Bam in it, Jimmy got to be in it. For me, at least. For me. All right, next up, what do we have left over here? The last 2 spots we have on this little, who has the most pressure thing that we've been talking about. I just have the Mavericks and Kyrie. Ironically, I want to say I put the Mavericks under some pressure. Not necessarily the most pressure in the world, but I would. Mavericks are under pressure. I'm gonna switch it. Audible. I wrote down some pressure, but I'm writing that making Audible, putting them to just stay under a lot of pressure as an organization. More so like the front office is under pressure in the Dallas Mavericks case. Not necessarily the team, but the front office. For a while, everyone's been saying, we said this, I think, when the trade happened, that I was one of the few people who was like, Luka's still in a contract. He's still young. I don't think he's running nowhere. Everybody's telling me he could go somewhere. He might leave. And then they make the trade for Kyrie. They give up some picks for it. They give up some defense and Dorian Finney-Smith. So it was a little bit of a risk, especially considering Kyrie can just go ahead and walk at the end of this summer. And honestly, the free agent class this summer ain't really crazy. So there is pressure on the Dallas Mavericks to front office, I guess, to hope this works out on the court, because at this point and at this stage of the game, the front office did all they could do. There's no other move that they can make before the end of the season to make this work. They did it. They traded for Kyrie. They didn't make any other moves afterwards, really. I thought they were going to make another supplemental move to maybe get some defense on this team, because as we've seen already in the first couple of games they play together, this team does need and misses some defense. So you run the risk, I guess, of losing Kyrie, and then you've traded away those draft picks for nothing, if you will. But you still have proven to Luka that we're willing to make moves. We just apparently made the wrong one, so it's a catch-22 there. And then there's still the pressure of, well, if this doesn't work out, Luka could demand a trade in a year or two. We never know. So to me, the Mavericks are under a lot of pressure. But then this flip side of things, honestly, Kyrie, for very similar reasons to Kevin Durant, but different, no pressure at all to make it work in Dallas. And to me, this is why. Yes, did he have all the crazy off court stuff? You know what I mean? Not being able to play, having to go through the My Career storyline side quest. If you know, you know. My point is, Kyrie has done enough this season to have proven that Kyrie is Kyrie, that he is nice. The numbers he's put up all season have been absolutely phenomenal. He's proven that, to me at least, he's proven that someone's going to sign him. Regardless at this point of whatever you think of his off-court stuff, whatever you think of that, it is what it is. It's a world where somebody's going to sign him. We've already talked about the Suns' interest. Of course, I'm sure there's some sort of Lakers interest this summer. But Kyrie doesn't have any pressure because the Mavericks got to convince him to stay at this point. Like, between the way how Luka and him play together in these playoffs and finish out the regular season, how deep they go to playoffs, they got to come to a mutual decision of like, well, do we want to sign Kyrie? And if we do want to sign Kyrie, does Kyrie even want to stay? Kyrie holds all the cards to me. Because unless there's a world where he just really loves Luka and wants to play with Luka and the Mavericks don't want to sign him, which if Kyrie wants to stay, I don't know why you don't sign him. But Kyrie has options. He can go wherever he wants. So I don't think it's that big of a deal or that much pressure for Kyrie. But I see a lot of pressure for the Mavs. So once again, don't think too deep into this. Take this all with a grain of salt. These are just guys who was on my mind over the last couple of days. I wanted to put a tier list together, hang out with y'all on stream. And this is kind of what I put together. Most pressure, some pressure, no pressure at all. We might do this more often as I just have guys and thoughts because it's just a method to get the juices going. If you feel like I have somebody else, I miss somebody, let me know that in the comments for sure. But yeah, that's my tier list. All right, what y'all talking about in here? I see y'all talking about people's ages. CP3 and Kyrie are 34 plus in injury prone. Leading league still. What are we talking about? Say the KD trade is for the future is wild. The KD trade is for the future. I don't understand the issue with me saying this. He's literally under contract for another 3 seasons. What did we just say? Under contract till 2026. Of course, do you want to win a championship this season? Because the Western Conference, when most people say still feels wide open. Sure, of course. There's no like quote unquote super team. But he ain't going nowhere. What the roster that the Suns have, the main building blocks of that roster, ain't going nowhere. They're good. I ain't worried about them. I ain't gonna lie to you. They traded Durant for the Pistons first for Bertans in the offseason. They basically traded KP and Dorian Finney-Smith for a first, Davis Bertans and Kyrie Irving. That's a good way to look at it, range, I guess. Any last thoughts before we head out of here? We've been live for about an hour-ish. I ain't gonna lie. I went through all my notes. I don't think it's necessarily anything else in my notes that I had to go off of. Nice Lakers win earlier today. I did see the end of that game. Let me see. Who else is still playing right now? Yeah, nice Lakers win over Dallas earlier today. The Milwaukee Phoenix game was smooth as well. That's a big win for Milwaukee. I didn't even peep Giannis wasn't even playing until... Well, I was also cooking while the game was on, so I was like half watching it, you feel me? But it wasn't really until like almost halftime that I was like, wait, Giannis ain't even out here, and the game is like close. So big win for Milwaukee for sure. And I will be actually about to tune into this Minnesota Golden State game. And then I'll be watching the Denver Clippers game tonight at 10 o'clock. So, you know what I mean? I'll be in the Discord later tonight. Unless there's something else I want to talk about. I'm about to be out of here. Maddox, it is all good. It is hilarious that you just pulled up as I'm literally about to be like, I'm signing off to head out and asking the chat if they have anything else to say. I don't went through everything, Maddox, but I do appreciate you for pulling up. It's all good. I plan on clipping some of this up. So if you don't want to sit and rewatch the whole live, I understand. But I do plan on clipping a lot of this up, honestly, probably tonight, so I can drop some content throughout the week. If you need a vid for grading trades, nah, I think it's all right for now. Unlimited, like we talked about most of the trades in the initial, trade deadline recap. And what did I say about the Clippers and Russ? That's all I want to know. I put it to you this way. I said the Clippers themselves are under immense pressure because PG and Kawhi only have like a year and a half left under contract, and they have player options, so they can decide if they want to, demand a trade, ask for a trade, decide an extension. I think a lot of that is going to be based on what this playoff goes and how it goes. I think Russ is under some pressure. I think he's played well enough, basically this season so far, that somebody's going to sign him. And I think based off just the one game, obviously, based off that one game, I think he's going to play well enough for the Clippers that someone's going to sign him. Depends what that role looks like, you know what I mean? But in terms of just like future thinking, I think there's more pressure on the Clippers front office and organization as a whole than there is just on Russell Westbrook, to quickly answer your question. The Jay Crowder revenge game? That was a Drake Crowder revenge game. I didn't even think about that. That Bucks Clippers, that Bucks Suns situation. I didn't even think about that. Check my DMs. I'm assuming you mean on. I agree pretty much. I feel that. Check DMs. I'm assuming you mean on Discord, VR. Dang it. I don't have Discord open. Let me go to just discord.com. It'll be faster than pulling up the actual. Somebody asked, do I think the Lakers make the playoffs on TikTok? I think they could. I think I jumped the. I'll definitely admit I jumped the gun when we did our trade deadline live. I jumped the gun. I'm saying Lakers gonna make it to the second round of the playoffs. It's not an easy road ahead. They're just so far back. Like that's the thing. The Lakers gonna have to win a lot of games in a row to really make a good playoff push. So it's just gonna be tough. To me, I think it's just gonna be tough. Let me see. Oh, check my actual DMs. Oh, from Rect. Okay, I'm like, where's my DMs at? Oh, see, it's a video from Rect. You know what? We ain't even gonna watch that on stream. Last time we watched a video from Rect, child, we ain't even gonna do that to ourselves. You made a Dame trade? Why are you making Dame trades? Dame ain't getting traded. I ain't gonna lie to you. Did you make it recently? What? I don't see no Dame trade. I ain't gonna lie to you, Unlimited. I don't see no Dame trade. At least not in the moment. I don't. Oh, you're making it right now. Don't make a Dame. Dame not getting traded. Dame is not getting traded. All right. What? Oh, I got new mentions on Discord. Video is safe. Oh boy. All right, VR. We'll see. I don't even know if this. I don't know if this audio is going to play for y'all because the way I have all of these, my audio interface. Let me see. Figure wavelength. Let me bring that down just a tad. Oh, this is from just last night. You know what? We're not gonna do this. I'm not for my mental health. I'm not doing that. I recognize that just from last night. You're not getting me. I'm protecting my mental health today. I'm not rewatching that. I'm not rewatching that shot. I refuse. Shout out to Jason Tatum. That was an amazing shot. My old mental health. I'm not watching it. A playoff game? Even worse. Sixers don't have any good playoff games against the Celtics. I refuse to watch it. I'm not watching it. I'm not putting myself through that. Let's see. Let me see here. Hold on. What is it? What? All right, VR. We'll see. I said, I should have protected my mental health. Embiid didn't go off. That's honestly, them past series is one of the main reasons I want smoke with the Celtics in the playoffs. Them past seasons, I want redemption tour. I want redemption tour. As a Sixers fan, I want all the smoke with the Celtics. I want them in the playoffs. Honestly, if he can make it happen, I want y'all in the Eastern Conference Finals. Like, I want a definitive Sixers are legit type playoff run. And if we don't get it, don't at me. I just might not make content that week. It's okay. It's okay. It's all right. It's all right. Hey, you know what? We can say trust the 50-year process. It's cool with me. I just really want my Sixers to beat the Celtics. If we being serious, I just want the Sixers to beat the Celtics. Yeah, not going to the finals long and relevant. We'll see, Sleazy. You know what I mean? Don't sleep on us. That's all I'm saying. Is don't sleep on my Sixers. Be nice. We be struggling from time to time. Sometimes, you know what I mean, we gotta be putting stuff together. But we nice. All right, y'all. I'm snoring, gang. Can't lie. It's cool. I get it. I understand. It takes a serious level of passion and delusion for your team almost to be able to look past the evidence of the past and be like, every year Sixers going to the Eastern Conference Finals. I say this every single year, and I truly believe it every year. And it just hasn't happened yet, but this year is our year. Playoff Dark Rivers and Harden. Don't worry about it. It's cool because it's all the chatter until it's not. You know what I'm saying? It's all the chatter and the doubt until it's not, and all it takes until is one time. That's all it takes is one run, and next thing you know, it's a championship parade down Broad Street in Philly. Like, you never know. What am I looking at? Unlimited. The Blazers is not trading Dame. I'll show it because you took the time to make it. I'm gonna show it. You saying the Magic get Dame for Markelle Fultz, Jonathan Isaac, and Jalen Suggs for 3 first-round picks, 1 from them, 1 from Chicago, and 1 from Denver? Nah, that ain't enough. I ain't even gonna lie to you. This ain't nowhere near enough. For Dame, if the Blazers really wanted to rebuild, that ain't enough. I ain't gonna lie to you. That ain't enough. Take us to 6 is disrespect. Nah, you know what, Sleazy? I'm out of here. Let me go ahead and get all straight. Saying take us to 6 is just disrespectful. It's disrespect. Because we live with the two games off the strength of us trying to ball over 20 times a game. Dags. Yeah, the Magic do not want game. You know what I mean? See? He trying, you know what I mean? Join the Discord. Hey, I feel like that was a test to see if the link still work. 5 at the most. Nah. I just don't know why the Mavericks would want. I just don't see I'm not asleep. It's smooth. I want more than 3 picks if I'm the Blazers. That's why. Like, give me maybe a 4th pick. Jalen Suggs has been Jonathan Isaac Fultz. Like, that's big rebuild. That's all I'll say. And you could have probably got more from a different team at a different point. So there's no point almost now. There's no world where they trade Dame. I truly, there just ain't a world where they trade Dame at this point. Unless Dame just demands out. But all right, y'all. Before we just start rambling and just talk about nothing for the next forever, I'm going to head up out of here and enjoy the rest of my evening. 76er trade for available in the offseason. And on this note, I'm out of here, y'all. I'll see y'all next time. I'm going to chop this up probably tonight. Drop some content from it. check the Discord. I'll let you know when the next live is gonna be. I have some thoughts for one, but I don't have an exact date. Check the Discord. Join the Discord if you're not in Discord. Shameless plug. Subscribe if you haven't already, and if you made it this far and haven't liked the video, I don't know what you're doing. Like the stream. Appreciate y'all for pulling up. I'll see you in the next one. I'm out. Peace. Not by Hockey Poo. I am dead, yo. All right, y'all.